Hi, Emmanuel here with T2S. In this video, what I'm gonna do is to guide you, actually help you walk through the steps on how you can provision an EKS cluster, that's Elastic Kubernetes Service on AWS. So I'm gonna show you how you can do this. This is version 4 in our series of the deployment of Express web application, specifically on AWS. So without further ado, I'm gonna take you actually to my terminal and the browser so that we can begin working on this right now. So let's go to the terminal. We are on the terminal, and what the first thing that you're gonna need to do is to git clone. So you git clone your the repository here, and then you move to Express T2S app version 4. When you get there, you're gonna see a bunch of directories. So in these directories, we have specific scripts for specific stuff that we have to accomplish here. The Kate's directory, that's for the deployment and the deployment of our application and making it accessible to everybody else. But you're gonna have to focus on backend, ECR, and EKS. That's under the Terraform directory. So you go there, you're gonna find backend, ECR, and EKS. Focus on the variables files. You're gonna have to adjust the values of those variables, as well as the Terraform TF-vars. The main file, like for the EKS deployment, here we're talking about networking component of the infrastructure, EKS cluster, and also Helm. We'll talk more about Helm in the next version of our application. So that would be like one step up. But you're gonna need to log into your AWS account. You go there. We start with S3, which will host our remote state files. We're gonna set up this infrastructure. Then we'll set up ECR as well. Also DynamoDB table, which will allow us to lock the Terraform state file. On S3, we're gonna have ECR state file as well as EKS state file. We're gonna go to the next step. And the next step, this is where we begin setting up our backend remote backend, meaning S3 bucket, as well as Terraform, not Terraform, but DynamoDB lock. So we're gonna take care of that. Let's go back to our terminal, and I'll show you how we can do this. So now on our terminal, what we are going to do is, just give me a moment to find my terminal here. Okay, that's it. So we're gonna go back to the Terraform directory, because this is where we're gonna spend the next few moments here. Move into the backend directory. You're gonna have to change the values here. Terraform TF-vars file. You use the desired values, and after doing that, you run Terraform init, Terraform validate, and Terraform plan to initialize and validate your scripts, as well as preview your infrastructure. So once you do that, you're gonna see that you have a plan to add 3 resources to your infrastructure, and then use Terraform apply or to approve to say okay, to skip the interactive part of this script here or process. And now go to the browser, to your account, AWS. You're gonna see that our Terraform, our S3 bucket has been created, and the DynamoDB has been created. Now we go to the ECR subdirectory. We get there, change the backend file. You're gonna have to change that accordingly, making sure that the Terraform state file will be stored where you want it to be. Run the Terraform init, validate, and plan commands again. It's pretty much kind of like the same thing that we did for the backend infrastructure. And apply. Here you're gonna see your ECR repository, private repository, deployed on ECR on AWS. So now the next thing that we're gonna need to do is to build and push our image to that private repository. Use the build and push bash shell script. You're gonna have to change also the variables according to the desired specs. So you do that, you true mode by that's to make it executable, and then you run the shell script. And here you see you have already built, tagged, and pushed your image. Next, what we do, we're gonna build our EKS cluster. So we build it, and our EKS cluster, we're gonna build it, and then remember, we have to configure the backend TF file. And again, to make sure that the Terraform state file is not stored on our local machine, but it's gonna be residing in our S3 bucket where the ECR state file also resides. So let's go back to the terminal here quick. So we're gonna go to the next step here on our terminal. On our terminal, what we do, first we go again back to the Terraform directory. We move to the EKS cluster, and there we have to configure the backend TF file, making sure that we have the DynamoDB table and bucket as desired. So, and then remember, the EKS state file will also appear on our S3 bucket. Next, you configure your variables file, and by using the Terraform init, validate, and plan, you initialize, validate, and preview your infrastructure that Terraform will build for you. Run the Terraform apply, auto approve. This may take close to about 15 to 20 minutes, all right, because this is a big infrastructure that we are building. This infrastructure has a lot of resources that are required. So as you can see, so we're gonna have to configure a lot of stuff here, but AWS will take care of the control plane for you, and it's also gonna take care of the other like networking pieces and so on. And because it takes 15 to 20 minutes, so I'm gonna go ahead and pause this video so that you don't have to watch me or stare at me for the whole time, because I don't have anything else to share with you. But I could share something, but for now, let's pause the video, and then we'll come back when the provisioning of this infrastructure is completed. I'll see you in just a few moments. All right, so we are back, and now let's look at our infrastructure here. We are back. It's running okay. It's completed. That's what I wanted to say here. And now we can see the cluster. We can see the API server endpoint. We'll see the resources, the networking components, the subnets, private and public, So we have all of that. And of course, public access source allow lists. It shouldn't be open to all traffic for all of our resources. And this is something that we'll configure and use the best practices as we progress in this series. So, and again, my name is Emmanuel, and thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you in the next video. God bless you.